everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Ours was a little bumpy at first. For those of you who have been following, you know my kids started school last week, or at least they were supposed to, but there have been fires in our area, so my kids were really only able to go 2 days a week due to the poor air quality and the schools having to circulate more air with COVID. So it was an interesting week, but now the fires, thankfully we were getting close to needing to be evacuated, but they were able to get the fires under control. I'm just thankful that we are safe and they're now getting the fire contained. The air quality's better. The kids are back in school this week. Things are better, but it's just, you know, we're just taking it one day at a time. It's kind of how this year has gone. We're just rolling with it. So, but today we're continuing on with our budget. That is the one thing that has remained consistent, and I am so thankful for that. It has kept me sane throughout all of this. We're going to be doing our week 2 check-in for paycheck number 1. So let's just go ahead and get started. Here we are, as per usual, starting with my transaction log over here and my weekly check-in sheet for my variable expenses. We did week 1 last Thursday for paycheck number 1. My husband and I get paid every other week. Each paycheck covers 2 weeks worth of variable expenses. This week we're going to be working through paycheck number 1. We're going to be looking at variable expenses all expenses from August 20th to August 26th. And this is week number 2. My variable expenses are highlighted in yellow on my transaction log. And these are our family's different variable expenses. Variable expenses will be very personalized based on your life and your situation. For us, we're just going to start at the top here with groceries. That's probably a pretty common one. Everybody's got to eat, right? I like to use the remaining column over here. This just helps me to have fewer numbers to type into the calculator. And for those of you who have been following me on this journey, you have seen many times that even when trying to set myself up for success, I still foobar the numbers some way, somehow. So using the remaining section, this is week number 2. So what I'll do is I take the $400 that I budget for 2 weeks for us, and then I subtract this $155.98. This $244.02, that's what we spent in the last 2 weeks, since this is week 2. And these are rolling numbers carried over from week 1, this remaining. But to figure out what I spent this week, I then subtract the $112.20 that I spent last week on groceries. And that tells me how much I spent this week on groceries, which was $131.82. And I still have that remaining $155.98. All right, next is eating out and entertainment. Oops. I'll come and find the last time that we ate out or went anywhere, which you can see here on the 22nd. I took the kids to a trampoline park, and I budget $100 for us for eating out entertainment for 2 weeks. We didn't spend anything last week. And so this, if I take the $100 minus the 52 cents that I have remaining still from that category, we spent $99.48. And since we didn't spend anything last week, the $99.48 was all spent during week number 2, which we did get some takeout at McDonald's. We got a pizza, and then I took the kids to the trampoline park, and we got lunch at the trampoline park as well. Okay, so there's the 52 cents remaining from that. Next is household and pets. And I really only made that one purchase at Walmart, a household purchase for $6.93. Okay, Okay, so I'll go ahead and write the $693 that I spent during week 2, and then the overall remaining that we have, which we came in under budget again, which was great. Okay, so the rest of these I've already calculated in advance, and for the sake of saving time, I'm gonna just go ahead and talk through what we had spent. We spent $49.48, and we still have the $48.31 remaining. Then for my husband, he had spent $36.15 this week. He was overall, let's see, where is he at? He was over budget by $49.33. We budget $40 of spending money for my husband and I for 2 weeks. So adding $49.33 to $40 gives you $89.33. I did not spend anything this week. So just looking at what I had spent last week, or what I had remaining from last week, which was the $7.05. And actually, I'm trying to, so I transferred this money that I have remaining to a sinking fund for beauty products that are more expensive that I just purchase kind of intermittently as I need them. I'm currently saving up for some Latisse. My birthday is next month, so I'm going to be talking to my husband about just using what would go towards a birthday present to go towards purchasing the Latisse. I honestly have not been wearing any makeup because, you know, at work I have to wear a mask all the time and it's kind of pointless. So I haven't even, and I normally don't really wear face makeup either, but all I usually wear is just mascara. So I do enjoy having nice fluttery lashes because my lashes are really sad otherwise. But I just haven't been wearing anything anyways, mascara or otherwise. So my daughter, 2612, and then she was over budget. Let's see where she at by 612. Each of our kids, we set aside $20 for them. My oldest, he had done some extra chores with a friend, helping us out with the yard. They did really a lot of work around the yard, so we gave them $30 and they both split it, which was nice. You know, they have our kids all have their usual chores that they don't get an allowance for. It's just considered, you know, them doing their part to contribute to the entire family unit. But we encourage them to do side hustles. Like, you know, side hustles is where it is at. So we want them to get into that mindset. Let's see, and then next for unbudgeted, we had a lot of unbudgeted. There were quite a few purchases. Make sure you guys can see okay. Quite a few purchases. As I've mentioned, we have an elderly neighbor who's widowed, who has a dog, and we will stop at the grocery store for her sometimes. Her dog has also been injured. Her dog just hurt its foot, and so we got some Vetricin spray, which is amazing for animals. It's really easy to just spray. It's like an antibiotic for wounds. So we purchased that, but it is more expensive. So you can see like this feed and pet, and then my husband had also stopped at Walmart. Let me see, where was it that he stopped at Walmart and picked something up for her as well. And then we had a package to mail that I wasn't expecting, so just random things that trickle in. So our overall unbudgeted, what we spent this week was $77.07. And we were over budget by $81.71. So if you add that $77.07 to the $464 from last week, it will total $81.71. Our grand total for week 2, we spent $412.54 when you add these all together are under budget, which is awesome. We have not been under budget for variable expenses for a very long time. The summer was hitting us hard, you guys. Okay, so those are all of our variable expenses for paycheck number 1. Now we'll switch over to the budget sheet and reconcile the rest of the transactions. Here we are at the paycheck budget sheet. This is where everything comes together for all expenses, all income, debts, everything like that. This is my one snapshot of our budget. All of the sheets you guys see me use in my videos are available on my Etsy shop. We are paycheck by paycheck, zero-based budgeters. We get paid every other week. And we are also cashless budgeters. If that's a system that you're working or considering using, then go ahead and check out the sheets and see if they would be helpful for you. All right, I'm going to start at the top here. Here's paycheck 1, the overall dates, the 2 weeks that it's covering, our income. I filled out this information last week for income. Now we're looking at our green check boxes. This one I accidentally highlighted in green. It was supposed to be yellow. That was the cash that I had given to my oldest. Let me check that off. So now we're just looking at some extra money that came in. I had interest on my checking account. Our neighbor, bless her heart, we've told her she doesn't need to, but she feels obligated to, and it makes her feel better. She gave us some cash for the things that we had purchased, but you know, we're of course more than happy to help her out because she's just such a sweet little person, and she's really our family. My kids call her grandma. And then I did have some money come in through Etsy. So thank you to all of you who have gone and checked out the sheets and have made purchases. I really truly appreciate it. It just more so touches my heart because of I know how much this community meant to me and how inspired I felt. So it's just really amazing to be a part of this. So this was all extra income that came in. So I've just been kind of doing this running total over here in my remaining column for income. And we didn't have any rollover. We had extra of $34.78. Since we are closing out paycheck number 1, we will go ahead and add all of our income to see what our total was for paycheck 1. We had $28.98.52 plus $12.24.72 plus $9.15 plus $34.78. All right, that is amazing. We have almost an extra $500. So we have $5,073.02 of overall income, actual income. Now we'll go through the fixed expenses. Those are the pink check boxes. Guys, get you guys switched over to that. I'm gonna go ahead and check off the income that we just reconciled. And then we'll look at any of our bills that came through. We had Apple. This is a subscription, as I've mentioned, that we have been trying to cancel, and we have called them and canceled it, and they still keep charging us. So we're just gonna have to be persistent with this. This one's 99 cents, the other one is $4.99. And it's just, you know, it just feels silly to pay for something that we're not using, even though it's not that much money. But it pains me I would rather be using that money on something else that I'm actually using. Okay, and then our insurance, this is for 2 vehicles and a motorhome. It's back up to close to what its usual amount was. They'd been doing deductions, I think just because there was fewer car accidents during COVID because people just weren't traveling. Next is our Alexa account. It's expected $14.99. Oh, and I just skipped right over daycare. So of course we have our daycare tuition, and that always comes in as expected. All right, so the only bill that hasn't come through is childcare. It's a before school program for my daughter. It should be this $5 again. It's a set amount, and that will come out on Friday. Oops. So I'm just gonna go ahead and write that in as the $5. When you add all of our our fixed expenses together, their actual amounts, that totals $841.66. Now we'll move over to our variable expenses and plug in the 2 weeks of variable expenses. And that's adding week 1 and week 2, these numbers together will give you the answer to that, or using the remaining section on my transaction sheet. For groceries, we were under budget. We had spent a total of $244.02. Eating out and entertainment, we were also under budget. We spent $99.48. Household and pets, we were also under budget. We spent $82.36. Gas, under budget. We spent $101.69. My husband, he was over budget. He had spent $89.33. For me, I'm just gonna put this full 40, even though I was under budget by $7.05. That's gonna be transferred to a sinking fund, as I'd mentioned. My oldest, he was over budget and he'd spent $30, but really we were more than happy to give him that money, him and his friend. And then we've gotten the money, we just used the cash that our elderly neighbor had given us and just gave that straight to him and his friend, which it kind of worked out because we, like I said, we just don't really carry cash. My daughter, she was also over budget. She spent $26.12. And my youngest, of course, he's always under budget. Just those older kids, you know, I mean, he's only 3, and so he can't ask for as much or know to ask for as much as the older kids do. And then unbudgeted, we spent $81.71. But overall, we came in. Okay, y'all, I had to take a moment to go look at my numbers because I was like, things were not adding up for my variable expenses, and this is where I struggle the most with doing my math. But I feel like with the system I use, I do have ways to double check myself. So even though I do foobar it on the video, I'll come back and let you guys know when I have fixed it. And I'll double check myself on my numbers usually afterwards, which I probably should be doing this beforehand, so that I'm not telling you guys the wrong numbers. But for my week 1 check-in, for some reason I'd written 320.61. It was actually 330.61. So I corrected these two. Week 2, I had forgot to add in gas when I had pre-calculated, so that threw all of my totals off. So that has been fixed. My husband, I accidentally wrote that he was over budget by $89.33, but that was what he spent total. He was really over budget by $49.33, and then I think that was it. So everything has been updated. This number down here, this $462.02 is what we spent, not counting the $705 I had remaining, but I'm gonna be transferring that money to a sinking fund, as I mentioned. So what we had remaining, if you were to add and subtract all these, or if you were to add these two totals together and subtract from the $915 that I budget overall, you'll get to this same number. That's a way to kind of double check myself. So we were under budget by $115.32. So if I take the $915 that I budget right here minus the $115.32, that's what we spent overall for the last 2 weeks. Whew. Oh, my brain is steaming right now, you guys. Okay, so we spent $799.68. before we move into figuring out what we're calculating for our rollover, I'm going to take care of sinking funds. I did have some sinking funds. These are my blue boxes. So I had made more back to school purchases. Let's see. So that was for $11.81. And then we had purchased some solar panel chargers for our outdoor cameras. That is coming from home maintenance. And that was for $108.25. And then our waste management bill came out, and that was $83.07. That's quarterly. Okay, and I will be doing my sinking fund closeout tomorrow, so you will see how I use these sheets to help me close out my sinking funds at the end of the month. That will be a video tomorrow. Now what we get to do is figure out what we are rolling over to paycheck number 2. Right, so we're going to take our income, our actual income, the $50.73.02 minus our actual fixed expenses, $841.66, minus our actual variable expenses, $99.68. Let me make sure I type these in correctly, because y'all, I don't know what happens between my finger and my eyes and my brain, but there is a wire shortage. Okay, so we are transferring, or going to be rolling over $3,431.68 to paycheck number 2. That is super exciting. All right, for the debt, we're closing this out. The minimum payment for the HELOC was not actually due this month, just with how transfers happened when the actual minimum payment is due. I didn't end up being a part of the billing cycle. I'm going to leave this the same. $274.23. We did not have any bills that came out. There were no extra payments made towards debt, so all of these numbers will stay the same. During paycheck number 2 is where we close out our budget, zero it out, and use our cash flow, calculating our cash flow, and throw that money at debt. So stay tuned as I do my weekly check-ins for paycheck number 2. It's the week 4 check-in, and the paycheck number 2 closeout is where we use that cash flow to throw at debt. Okay, y'all, that is going to wrap up this week 2 check-in for paycheck number 1. We figured out all of our actual numbers. It was painful, but we did it. I will see you guys tomorrow for my sinking funds video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.